stuff, but then into nutrition, and now kind of the integrative, like working with the subconscious and bringing it all together.
Yeah, no, that's so cool. So what are some steps? I mean, I know that a lot of us were hearing about the quarantine 15. What are some steps that we can take to incorporate healthy foods into our diet? Like, where do we even start or begin, really?
That's a good question. I mean, first of all, I feel like everyone just needs to, like, be easy on themselves, because this is a hard time, and, you know, you do the best you can do. But I think a big thing is just working on, like, stress relief, and because I feel like when we're all stressed and running around stressed all day, it's a lot harder to be mindful and make more conscious decisions. So I think by taking a pause, taking a break, and there's different tools you can do for that, of course, but just anything that's going to get you out of that stress response into parasympathetic mode, which is like rest and digest and healing, is going to help a lot.
I love that, because sometimes we crave something or we keep eating when we're not full. Is that sort of just like letting our mind tell our body that, like, we don't need any more food?
When you just, yeah, I mean, I feel like you're not being conscious, really. You're just kind of either giving into a craving, or, I mean, there's different reasons why we might, you know, kind of overeat or do those things. So everyone's unique in that sense. But yeah, that's just kind of going into your habit mind. You're not thinking consciously of your long-term goals. You're just kind of doing what feels good, and it's going to kind of help block out some of that stress and those more negative feelings for a lot of people.
Oh, I'm so excited that I have you on the chat right now, because I've got a lot of questions. Can you, before we get into it, can you just maybe raise your volume a little bit more?
Where do I do that?
Are you on your phone?
Yeah,
So just like the side of your phone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I raised it all the way up.
All right. Well, this is what we got.
Should I talk closer?
No, you're good. I can hear you. Wait, so are you in Boca?
I'm in Parkland, so close to Boca. Yeah.
Very close. Okay, so I love that. Now, how can we put into practice those types of techniques to, like, stop? Because I feel like we are typically so go, and that's the way we're wired. So how do we get started with that?
So, I mean, there's some basic, you know, tools and things you could do, like even just, you know, working if you regularly work out. So working out exercise and physical activity into your routine. Mindfulness, so like meditation. I know not everyone's into that, and that's like for sure a practice. That's kind of how I got into this whole world. I'm like, I can't just be quiet. So I started listening to guided meditations, which were really guided hypnotherapy meditations. Really the only difference is there's a purpose in mind. So it could just be something like that you put on, like a recording to listen to help, you know, calm you down. It could even be towards helping you eat more mindfully. So with that purpose in mind.
I love that. Hi, Marietta. One of my friends who's really into fitness and works at all the women's magazines is on the chat.
Oh,
she actually ran a marathon in Africa. Very impressive.
Wow.
Brady, so let me ask you, what do you think, obviously our immunity right now, that's my nickname for her, is so important. What are some immune-boosting foods that we can put into our bodies, like, right now?
Immune-boosting foods right now. I mean, I think just any real whole foods, you know, like kind of steering away from those processed foods. Obviously, sources of vitamin C are going to be really good. So bell peppers, oranges, like all the citruses are high in that. But yeah, just I think more so focusing on like real whole foods and balanced meals, you know, throughout the day, and keeping those blood sugar levels steady. And again, I go back to getting out of the stress mode, because that really will take a hit on your immune system. So just relaxing, and because when you're stressed out, it's going to take away all the energy from anything else except for survival. So when we can relax, then the body can actually regenerate and do what it needs to do and protect us, which is what it naturally does.
No, you're absolutely right on that, for sure. They say like foods that are really bright in colors, right? Like blueberries.
Yes, just eat the rainbow. Exactly.
Oh, I love that. I'll eat a rainbow for sure. You're my sunshine today, Brat.
Oh, you're always my sunshine.
Love you. Okay, so clearly all your patients, we're all unique in our own way, and we all have different goals, you know, and how do you sort of curate a diet plan, a nutritional package for each individual person? And if we don't have a dietitian, how can we do that for ourselves in terms of what our goals are, whether they be weight loss, whether they be just to stay healthy?
Yeah, so when I work with people individually, like you said, everyone's different. So I like to meet people exactly where they are and go from there, because I think a lot of these diet plans are like one size fits all. And maybe you'll follow it for a little bit, but really you're just going to kind of go back to your normal habits. So I think starting where you are and then making small changes and, maybe incorporating an extra vegetable a day. Like you want to start gradually and then you can make certain swaps. But I think when it's based around what you're doing and what comes natural, that's going to set you up for the most success.
That makes sense, because I feel like a lot of times we overwhelm ourselves with these huge goals, but you suggest to start smaller and take it step by step.
Yeah, and then that's also where working with the subconscious can help, because that is our habit mind. So when we can get the subconscious, which is running the show 95% of the time, like we think consciously we're in charge, but we're really not. So when that's more on board, then that's also going to naturally support making those more nourishing choices for ourselves.
I love that. So what are some of those types of techniques that people can engage in? Is it like hypnosis? I know that's something that you're studying.
Yes, so hypnosis is one of the main, most studied ways that's really effective of getting into the subconscious. So essentially it's just a focused relaxation, that meditation with the goal. That's what my teacher calls it. And I think that's the perfect definition. So when you're relaxed, then essentially you can get that conscious mind out of the way and then go into the subconscious and then let it know, the suggestions that you want it to be doing. And it's really just a program at the end of the day. So
I'm adjusting my angle because I'm sideways. Wait, that's like such great information. Okay, so let me ask you this. Like, what about before we go to bed? Obviously, a lot of us have racing thoughts and we just want to put, hand to mouth and grab whatever we can. How do we get past doing that and just like getting to sleep and then enjoying our meal in the morning?
Yeah. So something I teach everyone I work with, it's called self-hypnosis. So you can hypnotize yourself. Essentially, I think especially when you're anxious at night, that's a really great time to do it. And when you're falling asleep, you're actually naturally going into that state of hypnosis already. So you can just capitalize on being in that state already and then really just reinforce, whatever you want it to be, being satisfied at the end of the day. Of course, I always recommend like tapping in and like, are you truly hungry? If you need something to eat, like I'm not about deprivation at all, but I think it's all about tuning into yourself and seeing what is it I really need in this moment.
Amazing. I love that. Okay, so let's talk marketing for a second. Like a lot of these food products that are easy and like on the go snacks. I mean, there are healthy options, but what do you suggest that, parents search their kids now to keep the kids satiated and so that they're not asking for mac and cheese every day?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of these kids products, I have a 2-year-old, so I get it.
Yeah.
I feed him for the most part what I eat. Like a lot of the kids stuff, if you read the ingredients, it's like all sugars and artificial colors. Like that's not healthy for them, for their brain development. So I'm big about reading the label. So like going past the marketing, what's on the front of the box, actually reading what the ingredients are on, the side and the nutrition label. But I think kids can eat what we eat, like fruits, vegetables, whole foods. I think, we overcomplicate things sometimes with our kids.
That is like a really good point. Now, when we are grocery shopping, and now a lot of us are doing it online because we're trying to refrain from going to the store, are there any ingredients that we should look for, stay away from, like any tips in regards to that?
I think especially right now with wanting to keep our immune system strong, I think, you don't want to be crazy about it, but I think limiting sugar as much as you can is going to help because it's inflammatory. So again, it's going to take the resources away from your immune system when we want it to be operating at peak capacity right now. So I would limit the sugar as much as possible.
So let me ask you this. Every morning I've tried to get into a routine, and I go and I make my coffee and I savor the moment of the smell of the coffee, and I eat a Cliff Bar like every morning. Now those are probably packed with sugar, but they do have, nutritional benefits, right?
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember Cliff Bars. Again, it comes down to the label. So if you want, you can send that one to me. I'll check it out for you. But I think it's good. Once you start getting in the habit of it, you'll know exactly what to look for. So you can see, like, is it the sugar? Because where's the sugar coming from, right? Like if it's coming from dates and whole foods, like that's fine, And even like the minimal amounts, fine. But I think, where's the nutrition coming from and what's in it?
Totally. What is your take on intermittent fasting?
So I haven't delved into it too much, but I think and this is with anything, I think you have to do what feels right for you. But I do think that it makes sense staying within a window of eating. Like half of that window, first of all, I think they say from 12 to 16 hours you can do it. Most of the time you're sleeping, and it makes sense your body needs time to like clear itself out and rejuvenate and all of that. So I think you can do it moderately, and I think it's, you know, again, what feels right for you. But I think you can start practicing like 12 hours and see if that feels good.
Excellent. And how important do you think it is to eat multiple meals a day? Like eating more frequently as opposed to just like 2 to 3 meals, like 5 or 6 meals?
So I think there's different schools of thought on that, as there always is with everything. I'm personally more of a snacker. Like I eat more frequently, but I think, again, it's tuning into your body. And there are certain conditions and reasons why you might want those 3 bigger meals. But I think generally kind of spacing it out with that snack in between, it works for most people, and keeping those blood sugar levels steady and all of that. But again, it's all individual.
Good snacks would be like what, like veggies and hummus? I mean, it seems so obvious, but it's really not.
It's true. I always say it's good to be balanced. So you want like a good complex carbohydrate mixed with a protein and a fat source. So that's going to help give you the most satiety and keep your blood sugar levels from crashing immediately. So for example, let's say you're having an apple, pair that with like a nut or seed butter, because that's going to have protein and fat at the same time, which will keep the blood sugar levels steadier longer.
Okay, now I have to ask your thoughts on alcohol, because lots of people are consuming it during quarantine to sort of just kind of unwind and relax.
Yeah, I think that's one of those things. I mean, again, you know, tuning in, you know, how much, why are you having it? But I think limiting it, you know, I feel like it's one of those things, like maybe, it depends, but, you know, 1 glass of wine is probably fine, but you just kind of, how do you feel the next day, you know? So it's all how it makes you feel, and just tuning into yourself.
Totally. Oh my gosh, I love it. And guys, by all means, ask questions, not about abortion.
I saw that. I was like,
yeah, listen, guys, that's not the theme of today's show. So stick to health, nutrition, and wellness. So how are you doing in Parkland? Are you cooking a lot? Are you kind of snacking?
Yes, this is definitely the most I've ever cooked. So as a dietitian, you would think that I'm cooking all the time in my normal life, and I like to say I was, but you know, you do what you have to do between everything. But yeah, definitely now I'm cooking more than I've ever cooked, but it's nice. I feel like I'm like, I'm going to keep this up even after this is all over.
Totally. Do you have a favorite meal to cook?
Ooh, what I just made last night, my husband and Jace love, and I think it's kind of impressive and so easy. I was thinking of sharing this anyway, but it's like a healthy fried rice. So yeah, like this fried rice.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Is it like cauliflower based?
I put cauliflower rice in it, but I use regular rice too. I don't think they'll let me get away with that one.
Oh my God, you're so funny. I love that. It's hilarious. What about for exercise?
What about it?
What have you been doing? What do you suggest when you put together like a nutrition plan for your clients? What type of exercise do you kind of infuse? Is that something that you do?
So I don't necessarily like I'll give them basic recommendations, like, you know, maybe 3 to 4 times a week, depending on where they are and working their way up to that. But right. I think, again, that's individual, but I think moving your body as much as you can in ways that feel good. So I feel like when you feel forced to exercise and you don't want to, like coming at it from that negative energy isn't helpful. So I think finding movement you enjoy. Most of my exercise is walking with Jace around the block. I'd like to do more. I do have a bike. I would like to start doing that more, so I think that's good. A lot of videos, people are loving like the yoga videos and all that stuff online, or even a lot of their gyms are providing that now, which I think is a really great option.
For sure. So women or men that potentially have, this is like a very specific question, I'm wondering if I'm asking for myself. No, so like if they want to target a certain area, because some people store body fat in different places, are there different types of foods that you can eat to sort of cut fat in certain places where you have fat pockets?
Not that I'm aware of. There very well could be, maybe, but that's not really something that my expertise is in or that I'm aware of. But that's a great question.
Thank you. Yeah, I just figured.
Exercise, I think they say you can't really spot train, and it's gonna kind of work itself out all over. But yeah.
Right. People say like maybe blueberries. I mean, I get obviously eliminating salt is good for bloating, but
Sure.
what are your takes on like adding salt to meals?
I think the type of salt matters, like a good high quality sea salt or Himalayan sea salt, because that has like rich in nutrients. But I think, just
good to know.
moderation. But that's what
It's not even something that I would necessarily think of.
I think doing too low sodium actually can be not a good thing, but I think the quality can matter. That's with anything, really, all foods.
So I love this. How did you get into like the mindful practices that you are now essentially that you're like an expert in?
It was a combination of personal, just plus stuff that I observed professionally. I would work with people, and like some people would just, run with whatever their plan was, and it was so easy. And then others would just struggle to just implement basic things. And then I would see it in myself too, like being a nutrition expert. I'm like, I technically know what I should be doing, but that doesn't mean I was doing it all the time. So I think I just realized there was a component that was missing. And then when I started understanding the function of the subconscious mind and, how the mind operates, then I just realized that was the missing piece of the puzzle towards, helping us actually implement what we want.
It absolutely makes sense, and it's taking the time to do it, and now we have the time, so we have to slow down.
Yeah, and it's just with that knowledge, then you understand, like, okay, so if my life doesn't look exactly what I want it to look like, or I'm not doing what I want to be doing consciously, it's in the subconscious, so then it's just a matter of getting to that and putting in what you do want.
Wow. Oh my gosh, I love that. Because it's so on theme with health, wellness, and fitness, I've been rocking these like leggings that I'm obsessed with.
I saw them, so cute.
Yes, they're called Fierce Pulse leggings. So guys, I want to make the great announcement that if you follow Brett on Instagram, and you follow me on Instagram, and you follow Fierce Pulse on Instagram, I am going to be selecting a winner for the leggings.
Ooh.
So get ready for that. Very exciting. Val Greenberg, Brett Sorel, MD, and Fierce RD. Brett Sorel, RD, registered dietitian, and Fierce Pulse leggings. So that's very exciting. And they have UPF 50 if you go outside. They can help prevent, sun protection.
I love that.
Is there anything that you want us to walk away from, a bit of knowledge from this conversation with all the messages that we're putting out there now to people to stay healthy?
I think what I started with, just focusing on ways that we can release the stress we don't need, just do things like don't keep the news on 24/7, like little things like that, just being mindful of releasing the stress. And then if you're unhappy, things don't look like how you want to, just realizing that it's in the subconscious, which is responsible for 95% of our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, and knowing you have the power to change that if you want to.
That's very powerful. Oh my gosh, I'm going to leave us with that. Brett, I love you. Thank you so much.
I love you. Thank you for having me. Sorry about my technical difficulties earlier.
Say one more time, my love.
Oh, sorry about my technical difficulties earlier.
That's what these chats are. That's what makes them fun. Listen, I developed lifestyle chats with Val and friends, your afternoon course of sunshine, so that we could start a dialogue to inform people, to entertain people, and to just let everybody know that we're not alone in this. And
I love you.
And
I love you too. We'll do this again soon.
How's your mommy?
She's good. I think she's on here. I think I saw her. How's yours? How's everything?
As good as she can be, because, we have to be apart, but listen, it could be worse, so we're all very thankful.
Oh my God, yes. I couldn't.
One day at a time. I love you.
This was so fun. We'll catch up more soon.
We'll catch up offline.
Yes.
Bye, guys.